Whoa, dudes. It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got another episode this week in Warframe. We're going to go over the entire weekly reset. And yes, this is the last couple days of the Nora's Mix Volume 5. We've got a new NIGHTWAVE season starting on Wednesday, in addition to having a new Kuva Sobek and Tenant Glaxian released on the same day as well. So let's get right into it. And yeah, make sure you use all your NIGHTWAVE credits before Wednesday, guys. They're going away. You can technically sell them for normal credits, but it's not a whole lot of credits. So you want to make sure you use your Nora creds for like aura mods, etc., etc. So let's go over what we got as far as other weekly reset stuff and look at the last couple days of this current NIGHTWAVE. Alright, starting with our first weekly reset item, we got a Rifle Riven at Teshin for 75 Steel Essence. Pretty good stuff. You get a Torah Riven, etc., etc. Maybe even a Glaxian Riven for that new item, or the new weapon on Wednesday. Yeah, we are recording this video live on stream. If you want to come stop by, we're doing the weekly reset stuff, such as the Archon Hunt and the Elite Archimedian. Alright, so let's go look at the Archides wares. And yeah, besides the, technically the end of the 11th anniversary this week, we do have the new NIGHTWAVE season, which will contain a new Tenant, or rather a Glaxian Augment mod and a new Sobek Augment mod. And if you watched my video from yesterday, the stats of these weapons are looking pretty decent. And it does seem like the Tenant Glaxian will chain to nearby enemies. About 4 enemies of chaining, it seems like. And as far as the elements I'm going for, after a lot of theory crafting, I think I'm going to go for a magnetic Tenant Glaxian. And for the Sobek, I'm still trying to decide, but either a cold or electric one, as a lot of people have toxic ribbons already. Alright, for Archides wares, we've got a Shotgun Ribbon, a Melee Ribbon, an Orokin Reactor Blueprint, one of the main ways to get this for free in the game, a Forma Blueprint, and 5,000 Kuva. As far as what I'd recommend getting, maybe if you need this Orokin Reactor, go ahead and grab it for 20 Pathos. Pretty high amount of Pathos, but still one of the limited places you can get that in the game. Yes, our NIGHTWAVE is ending on Wednesday, and as far as the new NIGHTWAVE season, it will still contain things like Nora creds, Nightane, Formas, all that kind of stuff. And there is no paid track. We were talking about this earlier. The NIGHTWAVE season will be extremely samey to what we have right now. Just be looking at 2 new augment mods, and besides that, not a whole lot else. Let's go take a look at the Elite Archimedian and see what Bird 3 Shard is looking like today. Yeah, there will be a new NIGHTWAVE overview video on Wednesday as well. We're going to go over all the loot. We'll see what those actual final stats and those augments actually are. And reminder, if you don't have this new Bird 3 Shard that moved from Call no longer has this. Go to Shiny Treasures and make sure you're rank 5 with the caveat to get that blue shard from Bird 3 this week. Alright, let's take a look at this Elite Archimedian and see how annoying it is and what kind of gear I got. Ooh, we got Zephyr, Limbo, and Ember for me. Okay. Going past, I got the Glaive at least. Alright, I'm not going to look at my own gear. I got the Stug again! Okay. Stop looking at my own gear. Let's look at these mission types here. We got the Alchemy mission, Survival, and Exterminate. The final mission's Exterminate, hilariously. Alright, so as far as your modifiers, reminder, the third modifier is the Elite Archimedian modifier, so you don't do the Elite one, you only have the first 2. For Alchemy mission, you got Hazardous Goods. The Elemental Grenades will inflict their associated damage while being carried. So if you have a Toxin Grenade, you'll take Toxin damage over time, etc., etc. Not as bad as you'd think, but it can be kind of annoying if you have a low health frame like maybe Zephyr or Limbo. Second modifier for the Alchemy is going to be Bolstered Belligerence. All enemies have Overguard equal to 50% of their maximum health. So Limbo is literally crying looking at these modifiers right now. The final one is the Vampire Limitus. Your favorite vampire clouds are back, draining your health and energy, as they're also immortal to enemies that, or to you if you get too close to them. So if you got Overguard, you'll be good to go on that, as they are pretty bad against Overguard. Second mission is going to be Survival, and the mission type, or the modifiers will be Parasitic Towers, Alluring Arachnids, and Commanding Culverins. Parasitic Towers, Life Support Towers only activate after 20 enemies have been killed within the 15-meter radius. It's really not as bad as you'd think. This modifier, as long as you have some small amount of organization, just kill the enemies near the towers and they'll be able to be activated. Funny enough, you don't even need to activate the towers all the time because you can kill stuff so quickly in this game. Second modifier, as Rogue Archonids charge attacks, they pull Warframes near them. That's the robot dog things. They're charging a lightning attack, will pull you in as it's charging, and that can deal some pretty serious damage, so be careful with that one. And Commanding Culverins. The whole Overguard thing is going to be getting hit pretty hard. Rogue Culverins equip weapons that deal 5 times damage to Overguard and mechs. So that's a pretty easy survival, honestly. As long as you just stay near the towers, you'll be able to kill enemies near the towers. It seems like a pretty normal survival mission to me. For the final one, it's an Exterminate for the final mission, so it should be pretty easy, honestly. The first one, Necromech Influx. Mechs appear with greater frequency. Those can be pretty annoying, but you don't even need to really... You just run past them all the time, honestly. Bold Venture. Enemies deal minus 50% damage and take increased damage, but gain increased movement speed, attack speed, and fire rate. And the final one, kind of an annoying modifier to me at least, Rupturing Fragments. Will replace the Shuffling Fragments. So those arm enemies, they will explode and they deal a lot of damage in the explosion. So be careful about that one. As far as your personal modifiers this week, you get Energy Exhaustion, lose 2 energy per second for each enemy within 10 meters of you. So just jump up in the air if you're on Zephyr or something to like not drain energy because they're not going to be near you. Powerless, all abilities are disabled until the squad kills 50 enemies. So since we have no gear lockout this week, just throw in a Elite on call. The 50 kills will be really, really straightforward and easy for that one. It's not even a modifier, honestly, as far as if you do that strategy. You've got Frame Curse Syndrome. Activating the ability will inflict 50 damage upon you, so pretty annoying, but hey, shield getting exists for a reason. And the final one, Abbreviated Abilities. Ability duration reduced by 75%. Pretty annoying, but actually very annoying for Zephyr, but we'll see how this goes. So I'd say it's a pretty easy week, honestly, as far as what missions and modifiers we have. The Stug will be pretty funny. I might have to go Stug Limbo or something to see how this goes. But either way, that's your Elite Archimedian. Let's go over the Incarnons, as we have the actual worst week of Incarnons. Spoiler alert. We were talking about this on stream earlier. This is probably the worst week of Incarnons that is available, as far as all the weekly rotations. Before we get into that, though, let's go over the normal circuit. As far as frames, we got Garuda, Baruch, and Hildren. All 3 frames from Fortuna. As far as who's the most annoying to farm, it's gotta be Hildren, but reminder, if you do pick Hildren, you must actually fight the Exploiter Orb to get the Lazulite Toroids to even, get this to drop in the first place. So, even if you pick her, get the parts here, you must you must kill the Exploiter Orb multiple times to get those Lazulite Toroids. So, really, it's probably Baruch or Garuda if you're planning to even get Hildren in the first place. I'd say maybe go Baruch here. None of them are really that hard to farm, but since you're forced to fight the Exploiter Orb to get the Hildren parts, or to get the Hildren Lazulite Toroids, I'd say maybe just go for Baruch here. They're all not that bad to farm, though, to be honest. Alright, moving on to the Steel Path Incarnons. We've got the Bratton, Leto, Skana, Paris, and Kunai. This is one of the worst weeks possible. But reminder, if you haven't played in a while, rank 9 Opportunity Intrinsic, you can get the Kuva or some ribbons instead of these Incarnons you might already have. Reviewing what all of these do, the Bratton Incarnon is going to give you in the Exalted Incarnon form, it has a radial fire attack, like basically AoE fire bullets. These can be pretty powerful, but the reason this is not viewed very positively, one of the other Incarnons in a future week is called the Bursting Incarnon. It's just basically this, but better. It has a lot more ammo, and it has similar damage. This thing is harder hitting and slower firing, but it's a lot slower firing. It has less ammo, too. So, basically an AoE fire rifle. If you want to try it out, feel free. It's still strong. All Incarnons are still strong. This is one of the weaker ones in the grand scheme of things. Leto Incarnon, this is basically for founders. If you are an original founder to have the Leto Prime, this could be good for you because you have your exclusive little item that no one can get. But if you're not a founder, the Leto Vandal is very annoying to farm, and this is not a very good Incarnon at that. The Incarnons, in later weeks, the Dual Toxist Incarnon completely dominates this thing. Even the Bronco Incarnon could destroy this thing, I'd say, too. As far as the top tier Incarnons, you got Death Trap Trigger, giving a ton of crit chance and crit damage when swapping to this weapon. But again, just use the Dual Tox instead. It's still semi-auto in the Incarnon form, so just really not that great. But, since it's Incarnon, it's still pretty strong. So I'd say a low priority one for sure, unless you're a founder. The Skana Incarnon, again, if you're a founder, get the Prisma, the Skana Prime, but for all of the rest of us, we get the Prisma Skana that comes from Borrow. It's a very strong, high-stat sword, but that's basically where the benefits end. The Incarnon form of this will make nearby enemies finishable after entering the Incarnon form or after a finisher attack. You could chain finishers, technically, like a mini radial blind. But yeah, it's basically just used as a sword, a high stat sword. You can use it for endo farm and slice up enemies on the arena, and beyond that, really not a ton else going on here. I did forget to mention on the Leto, the Incarnon form, it makes it have increased punch through and will chain to nearby enemies, but it's semi-auto, just a reminder. The Paris Incarnon, probably one of the best ones this week. It's a railgun arrows bow with really high status chance. You get the Visage Ball the Visage Ball mod from Father on the Necrolisk, and that will let this thing have even more status chance. And this Incarnon up here, 60% increase the status chance, so much status chance. If you watch my Protea video from last week, I use this as a mini dog stat stick for my Kubrau to get so much status and crit. So I'd highly recommend this one as far as one of the best ones this week. but it's very similar to the Dread Incarnon. It's very similar to the Nadaruk bow from the story mode. It's just a railgun arrows bow. We have like 3 of those at least at this point. This is probably one of the best ones though. So get this one if you want to get one of the best options this week. And as far as the last option, we got the Kunai Incarnon. The Incarnon form on this is going to make it where it's be basically seeking headshot kunais, and they will go for guaranteed headshots and have lots of multi-shot and crit. That being said, it is extremely single target. So if you want to do high-level missions, this could kill a Thrax in one hit. I haven't used it on a Demolist, but I'm sure it could kill a Demolist in one hit too. And just like the Lado has Death Trap Trigger, on equipping from your primary to this, you get increased crit and crit chance and crit damage, and it can hit really, really hard. So yeah, as far as the number 1, number 2 this week, it's going to be Kunai and Paris. But if you also want to, you could just try the Skana instead, honestly. They're really not, this is the worst week of all, but I'd say the worst of them this week is going to be the Lado and the Brat. These are the worst ones this week. All 3 of these ones are pretty decent. The Skana, Kunai, and Paris. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the on the last week of the Nightwave Challenge. Actually, we have 3 days of Nightwave Challenges left here. And let's see what we got as our final couple. So if you want to do these, you have to seriously beat it in 2 days, 14 hours to get that level 30 and all that. All right, so let's go over what we have. Help Clem with the weekly mission is the first weekly good friend. Venus Bounty Hunter, complete 3 different bounties on the Orb Valis. Reminder, the Prop Taker can count for that, and we have another like 12-ish hours of the double credit weekend. It ends at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, so you can go do the Prop Taker bounty and have that one of those count for this. First Elite Weekly, Cold Steel, kill 1,000 enemies on the Steel Path. And another Steel Path one, the Path Less Traveled. Complete 5 different Steel Path missions. So hopefully you got the Steel Path unlocked for this week. Or these last 3 days, rather. Lotus Language, Nightwave Challenge, seize on weekly permanent kill enemies 25_name. So for that one, you just kill 500 enemies. It takes longer to read the name of this challenge than to actually do the challenge. Xmas Eliminator XXV. Xmas Eliminator 25, kill 30 Xmas. Mission complete, XXV complete 15 missions. That's gonna be... Yeah, the Nightwave ends on Wednesday, so give them a break, okay? As far as the Nightwave store for your final couple days right here, we got our evergreen stuff at the top as always. We got some pretty good helmet options, it looks like. If you want to use just quickly drain some Nightwave creds, you can buy a bunch of Nighttane extract here instead of just holding on to them for no reason. The Dante helmet's being added in the next Nightwave season, as is the Corvex helmet and some other stuff too. But yeah, if any of these helmets look good to you, feel free to pick them up. All right, and for your last couple days, you got some pretty bad aura mods, sadly. You got the Holster Amp, which is a good one, but Shield Disruption, Physique, and Deadeye are not very good aura mods. If you want to grab some of these to sell in the future, they're good for the Prop Taker and other things like that, but not needed, honestly. You got the Ceramic Dagger here again. I think that wasn't this here last week. Well, either way, Ceramic Dagger is here. Reminder, this is the only place in the whole game to get this. The Incarnon comes from the Steel Path circuit, but yeah, the blueprint comes from Nightwave, so you have to get that from here if you want to get that in the future. As far as other masteries, I've got the Dark Sword blueprint. For Conclave Augments, you got the Double Tap for the Latron, Deceptive Bond for Loki, Skull Shot for the Viper, and Focus Acceleration for the Tetra. Double Tap for the Latron's pretty good, but the rest of this stuff is not really needed at all. So yeah, that's going to be basically it for your weekly reset, guys. The new Nightwave season starts on Wednesday, and it should be hopefully a pretty good time. It's all we're going to be really getting until the Jade Shadows update in June. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to talk about. We're waiting for the next dev stream. Let's see what invigorations we have. Remember, these are random per player, so just because I have Limbo, Yareli, and Dagoth doesn't mean that you're going to have these frames either. So let's see what we got. Alright, so we got Limbo, giving increased secondary critical chance and ability efficiency. I mean, I have Limbo for the Deep Archimedian, so this could maybe help, but yeah, I'm not really looking forward to getting that Stug crit chance. But either way, pretty good for Limbo, I suppose. Ability duration and heal rate for Dagoth. Okay, reminder, if you got this far in the video, Dagoth's word sights are the only thing that still slows down Thrax for some reason in the ghost form. And that's not good, that's a bad thing. So I'm probably not playing Dagoth for any high-level missions anytime soon. And for Yareli, everyone's favorite frame, we got increased range and increased parkour velocity. So that's pretty powerful, but yeah. I have about 40 copies of Yareli, and I only play her when I'm forced to, basically, because it's Torment at this point. That's going to be pretty much it for your weekly reset video, guys. Reminder, of course, as always, no RNG involved in this one, but Iron Wake on Earth, and also like Archimedian Yanta on the Zeramon are going to give you Kuva on a weekly basis, but I don't really usually talk about this in these videos, just a reminder for that. So see you guys next one, take it easy, and peace.